Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Please like and subscribe. Leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram. And become a member to the channel if you like the content. Look, boom. Gervonta Davis and Roach. The rematch is set for August 16th. A lot of people were concerned. Is Gervonta going to rematch him? Gervonta's scared. Oh, he got away with a lucky decision. Steve Willis needs to be inspected. They need to come out here and have an investigation. Gervonta, he should have lost the fight. Lamont Roach is the champion. Well, I'll tell you what, on August 16th, we're going to get to see if Lamont Roach can reverse the controversial majority draw and get a victory. But what I will tell you is Gervonta Davis needs to make key adjustments in this rematch against Lamont Roach. I think Roach just surprised Davis because Davis had to push harder than expected. But in order for him to get a decisive win, Gervonta Davis is going to have to figure some things out. First thing first is whatever's going on in his personal life to make sure he resolves that. Sounds like he's in a much better space mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. He seems to be firing on all cylinders. So that's good. But he's going to have to start faster, man. I just think Gervonta Davis, in that first fight, he was just too cautious, man. And maybe he was cautious because he knew that Lamont Roach was a good fighter. Lamont Roach had power. And that Lamont Roach could hang with him because they had those couple run-ins and as amateurs. But he's going to need to establish control from the opening rounds because if he doesn't do that, we could see Gervonta Davis getting himself in a whole lot of trouble because Lamont Roach stood up to Gervonta Davis's power in that first fight. Increasing the punch volume is something else, man, that Davis is going to have to do. Roach was able to match Gervonta's activity. And Gervonta Davis is going to have to find a way to throw more combinations to prevent Roach from settling in. Well, what you saw happening is Davis had some success. Some people felt Gervonta Davis clearly won the fight. But what happened is Lamont Roach was allowed in a lot of rounds to really let his hands go and seize the momentum and disrupt the rhythm of Gervonta Davis. So as a result of Davis being a bit inactive, Roach was able to get active and have some serious success. So that's what ultimately led to Gervonta Davis taking the knee. And I'm going to tell you right now, he needs to avoid taking any more knees. You better believe if Gervonta Davis tries to pull a trick from out of his sleeve, that all eyes are going to be on him. I don't know who's reffing the fight, but he kind of dodged the bullet in that last fight by taking the knee because Steve Willis failed to penalize him. But in this fight, look, we can't have a repeat of round 9. Can't have that. Shit wasn't ruled a knockdown, but it should have been. But some people say, hey, forget Steve Willis. Get the attention off of him. Maybe Gervonta Davis took that knee because he had poor conditioning. Maybe he had poor conditioning, people. Maybe that's what it was. The pace was just too relentless. And he said, shit, I need a break. So he took that knee. But no matter what, Gervonta Davis out here on pound-for-pound lists. Some have removed him. The bottom line, they were saying he may be one of the, he is one of the biggest names in the sport. Some people are saying he's the best boxer out there, the most vicious puncher, pound for pound. But what I will tell you is if you're going to have people praise you like that, you got to stay composed under pressure, man. Just because shit ain't going your way, you can't unravel like he did. So no more taking a knee for Gervonta Davis. And he got to use his power more effectively, man. This whole thing about Davis never had knockout power. He fought all these tomato cans. Guys were just taking dives. People came up with all kind of narratives as a result of Gervonta Davis having that draw with Lamont Roach. We just never seen Gervonta in a situation like that. But what I will tell you is, don't for 1 second underestimate Gervonta Davis and his knockout power. He just didn't fully capitalize on it last time. He needs to set up his shots better and go for the finish when the opportunity arises. And he can't doubt himself. Like you really could see in that fight, he was doubting himself. But I think that's the wake-up call he needed. Gervonta Davis basically got a loss in that last fight. We know it was officially a draw, but in his mind, that's a loss. And that's something he said is one of the biggest fears is for him to actually lose in front of the whole world. And to many people, although he got a draw, he took a loss. And they treated him as a fighter who took a loss. And that affected him. It seemed like that had an effect on him mentally. Not an adverse effect. I think it's more of a positive effect. So as a result, I think he's going to be mentally sharp in the training camp and coming into this fight. And there's some guys, different boxing analysts, professional fighters, they say, look, Davis gave Roach too much respect. He wasn't fully focused. He needs to enter the rematch with that killer instinct that he used to possess. But the problem is, Roach already proved he can handle Davis' power. What do you do going up against a guy who knows he can handle your power and he ain't worried about what you bring to the table no more? And the controversy from the first fight is giving Roach extra motivation. So Roach is going to come in there looking to put the bing-bings on Gervonta. But what I will tell you is, as far as the preparation, I think Gervonta will be okay as long as whatever those outside distractions were, they need to be resolved. Simple. You get guys like Shakur Stevenson, Mr. Chicken Peck. He's out here talking about Gervonta Davis needs to be careful because it's a dangerous fight for him. I mean, shit, Shakur Stevenson's in a dangerous fight with Zepeda. Talking about how Roach is a serious threat. I don't disagree with Shakur Stevenson, but I think Davis can make the right adjustments. I think there's still going to be a tough night for him, but I just think he can't do no worse, and I don't think Lamont Roach could do any better. So I think it's Gervonta Davis at his worst. He was still able to get a draw, but I think Gervonta, if he's firing on all cylinders, I think Gervonta gets the victory. But who knows? Roach may surprise him again. You know what I'm saying? The thing is really boils down to the right adjustments. Can Gervonta Davis make them? Is Calvin Ford going to be back in there? Or is he going to, push him out the way just at the side of him? There was a whole lot going on in Gervonta Davis's corner. But Davis should take control this time, man. He got the power. He's got the skill. Now he knows Roach isn't an easy target. He'll probably come in more of an aggressive mindset and saying, all right, I can't let this guy get his confidence up. If Gervonta starts fast, keeps that high punch volume going, and avoids unnecessary risk, I think he should secure a clear win. But Roach has big-time confidence now, man, so Davis can't afford to have any lapses, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's just a great test to see if he's still at the top of his game, because people keep forgetting Gervonta Davis has been doing this for a minute now. He's been at the top of the sport for a while, and you can't be a baby forever. But we'll just have to wait and see if Gervonta Davis is going to go for the knockout or not. I personally think Gervonta is going to box smart and then go for the knockout. And I think that's the right call. I do. I think he has the power to end it early, but he really didn't show it in the last fight. But I don't think he's going to take unnecessary risks. I think he's just going to box, be more aggressive, and Lamont Roach is going to be the one with the relentless pressure trying to come after Gervonta. And I think Lamont Roach is going to walk into some shit. That's just me. But the bottom line, got to control the pace. Be smart when he's picking his shots. And be careful when he throws a shot not to get countered. And try to stay disciplined. And if he can avoid getting countered, he may be able to cruise to a win. I don't know how he's going to win, but he should be able to get a victory. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Roach said, shit, I hurt him. I know I was hurting him. So Lamont Roach is like, look, I'm going to make it scrappy. I'm going to fight him. I'm going to make him uncomfortable, get him out of his comfort zone, and I'm going to bing him. And that's what Roach is supposed to do. Shit, we're going to pick up where we left off. Where I hit him with that right hand, that counter right hand, and Gervonta started dancing salsa in the ring. So Davis got to stay sharp and not get pulled into unnecessary exchanges, because in the last fight, it just seemed like Roach had more power. But we just got to see how it goes in this one. Like, again, I'm going to say it again. I just don't think Gervonta can look any worse. But if he fights with patience, a little more aggression, I think his skills will shine through. But I just think Roach can go for the KO. Some say, nah, man, that's a bold move. Roach going for the KO is brave. That's ballsy. But I just think if he should go for the knockout. He's got all the confidence. You see Roach traveling all over, man. He's on his world tour like Muhammad, my man. You know what I'm saying? He out here like Tribe Called Quest. Roach out here in a draw. He like Edgar Berlanga. Berlanga lost, but he out here celebrating like he won. Roach got a draw. He's celebrating like he won. So for me, when I look at it, I just think there's something that Lamont felt he saw in that first fight, and that's why he's running around here with the confidence and basically begging for the rematch. Because I think he probably saw some defense lapses, and also maybe that he felt Gervonta Davis was getting fatigued. So that just tells me that Lamont Roach is going into the next fight probably expecting for Gervonta Davis to fall into them same pitfalls. But if Roach presses forward aggressively, Gervonta Davis is going to have to be very sharp with his counters. He can't allow himself to shoot a counter and miss because Roach is going to counter Gervonta's counter. So a reckless attack could backfire if Davis catches Roach clean, but it could also backfire if Roach catches Davis clean. But it just depends on who executes it smartly. It can make all this very, very interesting, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I still don't think people want to give Roach the respect to saying he has the power to hurt Davis. But I just think it makes sense. He did hurt him in the fight. I think Roach probably knows to a certain extent. You just can't come with sheer force and try to overpower Gervonta Davis. Like, you can't just come in and try to steamroll him. But he can force him into a fast-paced, uncomfortable fight. And that could open up opportunities. Now, if he pressures Davis early, that could make Davis work harder than he wants. And if the fatigue showed up in the first fight and it shows up in the rematch, that's going to disrupt Gervonta's timing, and it could throw off his rhythm. And that is not what Gervonta needs, because Gervonta's at his best when he sets the pace. So if Roach can force him into exchanges he doesn't want, it'll test his ability to adjust under pressure. Now, as far as Roach keeping that intensity all 12 rounds, or Davis figuring him out as the fight goes on, I just think that's a dangerous proposition for Davis, man. Because I don't know what the hell Roach does to train, but it always impresses me when I see fighters who can just throw the same amount of punches in the first round that they throw in the last round. And if a guy like Roach can maintain that relentless energy, Davis is going to have to dig deep, people, and find a way to try to control that fight without getting overwhelmed, without getting clipped, without losing. He's got the skills to adapt. We've seen that across his amateur career, his professional career. But it's just that pace that Roach was pushing, man. That shit could turn to a war of attrition, and I don't know who's going to win if that's the case. But the bottom line, Roach has power, but Davis' power is a real threat. Roach even admitted to that. But if Roach doesn't let up, I'm just telling you, for everyone out there who thinking Roach is going to walk through Gervonta, this rematch could be much tougher than what people expect. And if it gets into those later rounds, I'm just telling you, man, depending on who's in shape, someone's going to have to adapt. I'll put it to you that way. And if you were to ask me who do I think is going to have to adapt mid-fight, I think it may be Davis. Davis has shown that mid-fight he can make adjustments and adapt. But it's going to boil down to Lamont Roach and that intensity, man. You know what I'm saying? As Davis makes adjustments, Lamont Roach is going to have to make adjustments to be able to keep up his intensity. You know what I'm saying? But both of them are going to have to just look out and try to time counters better, manage distance more effectively. And both of them, especially Davis, is going to have to try to find a way to slow down Roach without taking unnecessary damage. And Roach has to be careful when Gervonta's trying to slow him down not to get hurt and take unnecessary damage himself, because both of these guys are capable of hurting each other. But it just comes back to the war of attrition. And I think Lamont Roach pressure can make this fight much tougher than expected, man. But we just got to see what happens if Roach doesn't land something big. If he doesn't land something big, Davis, I'm telling you, I think Davis is going to take control as the rounds progress. And the one weakness I think Lamont Roach has that nobody saw in that first fight, I think his confidence. Lamont Roach, he's exuding confidence. And I think that confidence can be a double-edged sword. If Davis shakes Lamont Roach early, I'm telling you he's going to start second-guessing himself. You see, a lot of fighters who rely on momentum, man, they start falling apart and shitting bricks when things don't go their way. So again, Davis should test Roach's confidence right away with them sharp counters and a few hard shots to make him hesitate. But if Roach feels resistance and realizes Davis isn't letting him control the fight, Roach's game plan could start falling apart because I think he was surprised at how much success he had in that first fight. Anyway, we'll see. Can Davis land something big early? Is Roach going to back off, or is he going to keep stepping to him? Who's going to try to force the fight no matter how the fight's going? Those are questions that's going to get answered when they get in the ring on 16 August. Anyway, man, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I'm in the breeze.